Come on, have a seat, guys. Have a seat. Prepare your questions in your head after you talk. I know you're listening to that. All right. Okay, this is the second part of today's program. We have the noted author from Indiana, who's here in New York City to do several book signings, and this is his first stop in the next 4 days. His name is Saahir. He's also an imam in Indiana. He will take the name of Masjid. He's been a Muslim just as long as your Soke has. I think he came in about the same time, 1974-5. And he did I got the book. I have the book, and I haven't really read it page by page yet. It's a lot to read. He did a lot of research. And you know, guys, I've been telling you all about the history of the Nation of Islam and the Muslim community ever since y'all been training with me. But this book and what he's collected is going to give you more information. And you know, what's our subtitle for Tactical Dojo? What's the subtitle? Whenever you see Tactical Dojo, what's under it?
Martial Arts Institute of Learning.
Higher learning. Martial Arts Institution of Higher Learning. So this is one of the aspects of higher learning, learning history. And the history of the Nation of Islam is an important part of American history. So Imam Michael Saahir is going to tell us a little bit more about that. It's all yours.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Alaikum assalam.
Jambo?
Jambo.
Jambo. Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank your director, what's your official title?
Soke. They call me Soke. That means
Soke.
head of the family, founder.
I want to thank you, Soke, for inviting me to come here to be with you and to share information. But I'm also more so interested in what questions may be on your mind. What are you thinking? So I talk for a little bit, and then we'll just have a conversation. I find it to be much more enriching and more engaging when we have a conversation than just me talking only. Well, I have written a book titled The Honorable Elijah Mohammed, the Man Behind the Man. And as I came in, you notice I was kind of reading the books on the shelf here. And one of the reasons why I wrote this book is because, once again, I get to grab the book. My first time being here, right? I grabbed the book on African American history. And I go to the book and I look up this man's name, Elijah Muhammad, in the index. And when I turn to the part about him, you don't find Elijah Muhammad, you find Malcolm X. And you find some other information. So it's kind of like, what happened? It's almost like a book about this dojo. Say cool?
Soke.
It's okay. And anyone is in that book about this dojo, except it's okay. Say, what's wrong with that picture? The most successful, productive organizer is not mentioned in his own dojo. There's something wrong with that, right? So in this book here, and many other books, they have historically, not just books, Hollywood done the same thing, Spike Lee done the same thing too. Historians, news reporters, Mike Wallace and others, they have repeatedly overlooked the one man in there's no other man that we know of, and I put this forth as a challenge, that we know of, who has been more successful and productive than African Americans on a community scale for I don't have
You
that.
to speak up.
Okay, I don't have that loud voice.
A little bit louder.
Okay. I was born with the ability to write, but I was not born with that loud voice.
You good, that'll pick you up. We pick you up.
We hear you.
Okay. I had to put all my life, speak up. Anyway, alhamdulillah. Over and again, these in movies, whatever, they will look like Muhammad. There's no other person we know in history who has taken ex-slaves, meaning African Americans, ex-slaves, and have raised from us international leaders. On the front cover, I have, along with Elijah Muhammad, his son, Wallace D. Muhammad, Malcolm X, Louis Farrakhan, and Muhammad Ali. I chose these four men because all four of these men are the result of Elijah Muhammad. Additionally, all four of these men are known around the entire world. Nobody else has done that. Dr. King was very successful, very productive, and he had men that followed him too. But I want to ask many of the youth, can you all tell me, and here we got four men who followed Elijah Muhammad. Can you all name for me four people who followed Dr. King?
Jesse Jackson, Andrew Young, Ralph Abernathy, and some others.
Yeah, there's many of them, you know, you got Julian Bond and others. But for the general society, you say now, these four men on this front cover of this book, I guarantee you, today all four of them were quoted somewhere in America. I guarantee you all four of them were quoted today. Dr. King's men, these are good men. I'm not trying to put them down. I'm just making a comparison. Dr. King's men, if I was to ask someone, do you think someone quoted? I think someone probably did quote Jesse Jackson. He quoted pretty often. Ralph Abernathy and others? I don't think so. So what did this man, Elijah Muhammad, have? What did he do that made his work so successful? Then the other part is, why is it that people don't recognize Elijah Muhammad? That bothered me. He got a nationwide school system. Nationwide importing of fish, trucks, farmland. There are hundreds of thousands of African Americans who are now Muslim because of him. There's no one in the country that has been more productive in bringing the idea of Islam, in particular, to African Americans. Even to this day, no one gets that credit. So it's important for us to have our history, to preserve our history, teach our history, and know that we have a very important story to tell the world. Anytime we have a race of people who come from the lowlands or who are the children of, now we grandchildren or great-grandchildren of ex-slaves, and you have from those people success stories. We have a story to tell the whole entire world, because the whole world has given up on us as a people. For those who might be older, we will recall what people would say to our famous African Americans who did something good. I think that good in track, and they break the world record, or they go do something in theatrics or whatever, they will tell them, you are a credit to your race. What do you mean I'm a credit to my race? Is my race in debt? Is my race less than to the point to where I have to earn your credit? So Elijah Muhammad came up with this. He was taught by a man named W.D. Farrakhan. He was taught this idea. And his idea was from the 1933, and he taught it up until almost his passing, in 75. He said, tell white America, I don't want nothing of yours. My name now is Michael Saahir. I was not born with the last name Saahir. I was born with an Irish name, Flanagan. I said, when I found out I wasn't Irish, and I wasn't Flanagan, following this thinking, I said to take your name back. If you said, take your food back, I don't want you no more your pork, your swine, drink your beer, smoke your cigarettes. So what this man here done, Elijah Muhammad done, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad done, in following his teacher, Mr. W.D. Farrakhan, he led hundreds of thousands, he taught millions of African Americans away from depending upon somebody else for our thinking, for our dress, the food we eat, the whole entire life. And then he said, I'm going to remake you. I'm going to take you back to your original self. And he had this idea called the original man. He said the original man was the Asiatic black man. That was how it was said back then. And it was designed to take people who were once slaves, who felt beat down by the world, beat down by society, and say, I'm going to remake you into a new man, into a new woman, following Islam, because Islam is your religion that you had before you were slaves. We found that to a large part to be true. One of the major religions of Africans before slavery was Islam. There were other religions. There were many, what we call the indigenous religions. They used the word animist. Doctor, is that a good word? When they say the Africans have the animist religion?
It's a pejorative word.
Yeah.
It's a negative word.
It's a negative word.
Which doesn't really explain what it really means
Right.
that they practice.
Yeah, yes. And it just doesn't sound like animal to me. It's too close to the word animal. Animist and animal, it's too close. And Elijah Muhammad was the kind of person, he would make you suspicious of any name, a term, or definition someone else give to you, he make you suspicious. And so when I know that before our foreparents were enslaved, we didn't have the typical religion we have nowadays. So Elijah Muhammad's thinking was, let me take you away from the religion given to you by the white man. This is how it was phrased, and by the Lord, that's true. Let me give you back your original religion, which was a stepping stone to get us back to practicing Islam. And so many of us took that pathway. It took me almost 9 years to write the book. Not 9 years solid, because time can stop for a while, go do something else and come back. A lot of research was done, a lot of reading, proofreading. It's important to write books. Everyone in here in this room should write a book. Why? Because you're already a book. You're a book on 2 legs. You're at least one book on 2 legs. Everybody on the planet, they got something to write about. It's a history to preserve. So when I kept saying Elijah Muhammad, either played down or overlooked, and sometimes just outright lied on them. I said, well, his contributions were too important for us not to capture that history. Now, I don't totally agree with everything that he taught. At one time I did. At one time, many of us did. But it's still a great work that has produced a lot of benefits. A lot of benefits. But I don't know, maybe if you all have any questions or comments, that would be good as well. But, and I take questions whenever you want to have to ask questions. But I do have a very good index in the back of the book. You look up names and places for cross-reference. I have about a 9-page bibliography that shows you where I've done my research at. The one gets write a book and just say, here it is, take it. Check me out. You may teach me something. But it's here to show for cross-reference. So if you get to do a homework assignment, use it. And you can back up my claim by going to yourself and find a book that I use and find it as well. That's important. We as a people, really for all people, but now for the African Americans, we have an obligation. All of you do. We call Eric, what we call you, the connection. Well, you make you a serious obligation. Go do some homework. Back it up. Tell your story. What's your name again? Zipporah? Zipporah. Oh, Zipporah. Same for you. There's this obligation. Go do the homework. Somebody should be, y'all should be thinking now, when you get older, you can really appreciate what I'm saying now. Someone should do a book on this dojo. He said, well, how big should it be? Don't worry about it. Just write. Just begin writing about how you felt when you came in, what you learned along the way. How can it benefit somebody else? How did it change you to make you a better person? Now, if you don't write it, if someone who don't like you write it, the whole thing's in trouble, right? That's the reason for writing this book. You can only blame somebody so long for not telling the whole story. The African American story as a whole, our story hasn't been told yet. People around the world look at us, they think about Soul Train, hip hop. That's not the best of us. But until those of us who got the intelligence, who got the spirit, realize that if I don't tell my own story, then I can't get mad at somebody else telling the wrong story about me. We got to defend ourselves, use our brains. And I'm sure that the discipline you all receive from coming to this dojo is putting your mind in a place, right, mister? Putting your mind in a place. Like discipline in a place. Right, this book took discipline. Be up 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, doing your research, writing the book. Everybody else, they in the bed asleep.
We got to inspire them. We got to inspire them. Like some books.
Yes. Then you go to bed for a little bit, and the book, the urgency to finish the book will wake you up. Write something else down. Story has to be told. Our story has to be told. This dojo story has to be told. And following not just this man, but all of our great people. Now, when I say our people, don't think only African Americans. But there's been some other people outside African Americans who did a lot to get us where we are now. We don't want to get tunnel vision. Not a black-white thing. It's a human thing. It's all about being human. All about being human. So that if we, and as we continue to learn to love ourselves, And that was probably his major message. Black man, black woman, love yourself. Don't accept those lies that's been told upon you and your people. So when we learn to love ourselves, we can love others. And you know what? It's easy for someone to love you when you love yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If you're going out there, you don't brush your teeth, don't comb your hair, you come out all dirty and raggedy, and you want somebody to love you, they can say, I can't love that person. They don't love themselves. So this man here taught us, love yourself. And he knew the risk. They're going to say, well, he's teaching hate. He didn't teach hate. Now, I know maybe for the younger ones, it's probably hard to comprehend, maybe to a degree. But those my age and older, we knew what it was to be held in your face racism. No ifs, ands, buts about it, and the laws of the land supported it. We know what that was like. And this man came in that time period. So what am I saying? Read this book, study this man in the context of the time or the age